And we start going down the stairs towards the morgue, and as we're walking down the stairs, I say, this place isn't that bad. I wouldn't mind spending the night here. And one of these big metal doors, it's like 5 feet wide, 7 feet high, about 2-3 inches thick, all metal, just, oh, bam, slams by itself. No wind, nothing.
A fella died down at the end of the East Hall, and I used to see him walk out into the hall, take a look, and go back into his room.
It's kind of like when you see photos of the Titanic, where growing up, all these things are so decrepit and it's falling apart, it's at the bottom of the ocean. Where this building is kind of almost like it was at the bottom of the ocean, where you see these pictures and you go, wow, that's what it used to look like. It was beautiful. And granted, years and years have passed, and now, you know, it is what it is, but it's amazing. And I think back to when it was in its prime, how beautiful it was, and I just think, wow, you know, time has done a lot to this place.
The Sheboygan County Comprehensive Health Center was opened in 1939. It would serve Wisconsin for the next 63 years. It was known by several names: Five Corners, the Comp, and the Mental Health Center. The building was designed with 6 wings that met in the center around a central nursing station. Architects felt the layout would improve care for the residents. They built it in the middle of nowhere, and some say that was by design. It's about an hour north of Milwaukee, near Waldo, Wisconsin. Surrounding the facility, you'll find nothing but farms, and more farms. John Whedon lives in Plymouth, Wisconsin, not far from the Comp. His brother Jimmy was a longtime resident.
And the fact that it was just out there, stuck in the country, kind of smacked of the old days where, you know, instead of community integration, let's put them off in the corner someplace so we don't have to look at them and think about them.
The Comp had all the latest medical equipment, some of the best in the state. The Comp closed in 2002, largely due to budget constraints. The closure was seen as both a good and bad thing. The building has fallen into disrepair and is, in a literal sense, a shell of its former self. Barronwood associate producer Marty Olivo visited the site many times.
It was such a beautiful building. I mean, they had the marble floors, the chandeliers, all of that stuff. And I saw some of your interviews with the people that work there, and you were showing them the pictures of what it looks like now, and they didn't recognize it.
The residents found it to be their home. This is my family. The staff I see every day are my brothers and sisters. You know, the residents are, you know, they're all one family. Yeah.
I guess the most bizarre is probably the dining room, where when you walk in there now, it's such a cold feeling in there, and you can't appreciate what it must have looked like. That particular image and being able to see what that used to look like, it's almost like it was a different building. I mean, it's hard to, other than looking at the wall structure, it's hard to believe that that is the same place.
It's the best job that I've ever had, where I felt a part of a situation where we were all contributing and we all worked equally and we knew what each other was going to be doing.
The work could be dangerous at times, and the employees were always there for each other.
A tight crew, because we all had to watch each other's backs, because you never know. I would always tell everyone when I would break them in, use your glass, watch reflections. If you're alone, is there anything coming up behind you? And it could very possibly have happened. It happened to me already, that people try to come up and get on you, get your keys and leave, because I almost always worked the lockup units.
The actual facility it was a lot bigger than I had anticipated. The first time that I saw it, like I said, we were focused on one room for a different project we were working on, but when we got to go back in there and actually walk around and see the underground tunnels.
They were making the best of it. You know, you can't move walls, you can't do, you can't make significant changes, but they made it brighter with paint. You know, the staff were friendly and warm.
There's no way you could have built a set that would even partially exude what this wonderful structure did, this structure which is well loved in the community to this day.
Well, right away when you walk in the building the first time, you get hit by this musty smell. It's like a musty, decaying, you get it on you. You're there all day. It's like driving in a car with the window open all day long and you get just dirty. That's what it's like being in this place. Just the experience of this place is by far the creepiest place I've ever been in.
The Comp was a special place to work. 11 years after closing, groups of former employees still meet for breakfast once a month.
We get to talk and reminisce about the old times. This group, me and a friend of mine who has now passed away, we started this with just 4 people coming. And now sometimes, like today, we have 20, we have even as many as 30 people come.
I mean, almost all of my good friends worked at County Hospital. Almost all of them. Like you heard, you know, the guy that told you about me. And yeah, I was upset that this closed down. A lot of other folks were too.